Hi, guys. Between Two Worlds with Deb. Glad you could join me today. I try to look for some super upbeat stuff, so I'm not giving you all the doomsday stuff all the time. But I looked, and I couldn't find much, except for God is still on the throne and he is still good. Title of our video today is Global Warming. Is it real? You decide. Okay, guys, let's just see what John Stossel has to say. I love this guy.
Climate change is a crisis, we're told. And anyone who's skeptical or raises any questions about the alarm is dismissed.
I'm going to bring out two people who agree with you, climate skeptic. I'm also going to bring out 96 other scientists.
The smug media mock so-called skeptics.
What is the overwhelming view of the entire scientific community? Okay. Any response to that? Any response? I can't hear you over the weight of scientific evidence.
The consensus is so strong, there shouldn't even be a debate.
This whole debate should not have happened. I apologize to everyone at home.
Climate alarmists claim there's an
overwhelming scientific consensus.
But
it's a manufactured consensus.
Researcher Judith Curry says climate scientists have an incentive to exaggerate risk. Why? What's in it for them?
Fame and fortune.
She knows about that because she once spread alarm about climate change. And the media loved her when she published this study saying there was an increase in hurricane intensity.
We found that the percent of Category 4 and 5 hurricanes had doubled.
Really? Doubled?
And so this was picked up by the media. Alarmists said, oh, here's the way to do it.
It being get the public alarmed.
Climate change is making hurricanes stronger and more destructive.
Tie extreme weather events to global warming.
So this hysteria is your fault.
Well, sort of. Not really. They would have picked up on it anyways.
But Curry's more intense hurricanes gave them fuel.
I was adopted by the environmental advocacy groups and the alarmists, and I was treated like a rock star.
What does that mean, treated like a rock star?
Oh my God, I was flown all over the place to meet with politicians and to give these talks and lots of media attention.
But then some researchers pointed out gaps in her research, years with low levels of hurricanes.
So like a good scientist, I went in and investigated all that stuff.
She realized her critics were right.
Part of it was bad data. Part of it is natural climate variability.
So you're the unusual researcher who looks at criticism of your paper and actually concluded they had a point.
They had a point for sure.
Then the ClimateGate scandal taught Curry that many researchers aren't so open-minded. Leaked emails showed university climate scientists conspiring to hide data.
It showed a lot of really ugly things. Avoiding Freedom of Information Act requests, trying to get journal editors fired from their job.
One email read, if you think this Yale professor is in the skeptics camp, get him ousted. Seeing emails like that made Curry realize that climate change fanatics had corrupted the science because there's a climate change industry set up to reward alarmism.
The origins go back to the 1980s and the UN Environmental Program.
Some UN officials had a specific agenda.
Anti-capitalism, they hated the oil companies, and they...
Speaking of those guys, let's just continue on and see what the mainstream media has to say about this.
And joining us now is Professor Michael Mann, director of the Penn Center for Science, Sustainability, and the Media, and author of the forthcoming book, Our Fragile Moment. So good to see you again, Michael Mann. Let's start with Tropical Storm Hilary. This is a first. Why is this storm so notable for California? And what's it say about what lies ahead?
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. It's good to be with you. And the governor laid it out actually pretty clearly. This is climate change. We're seeing it now in all of its forms, in, the wildfires in Canada, what happened.
Could it not be that California is just having a hurricane out there? Does it have to be because of global warming?
In Maui, the flooding rains that we're now seeing in California, you see greater extremes at both ends of the spectrum. A warmer ocean puts more moisture into the atmosphere. So when you get rainfall, you get larger amounts of it. You get more of these flooding events. But warmer soils evaporate more moisture, so you get worse drought over the land regions of the subtropics and the mid-latitudes. And so, this is it. Greater extremes at both ends of the spectrum, whether it's this very rare hurricane, and the statistics of Pacific hurricanes that sort of go in that direction are small enough that when we use models to estimate, how likely they are, it's sort of hard to really establish whether there's a trend or not because they're such rare events. But
Also, something that he's not telling you is that when you haven't had rain for a long period of time and then you have a deluge like a hurricane come in, then the water it's not used to all that water, so it can't hold it. So it creates storm surges. Now let's talk about the UN and see what they have to say about global warming.
We begin today's show looking at the climate crisis as temperature records continue to be shattered across the globe. On Thursday, the World Meteorological Organization announced July is on pace to be the hottest month ever recorded on Earth. Here in the United States, 170 million
ever recorded on Earth. I'm going to tell you a little story. And just the other day, I was looking at my phone. And my phone tells me what the temperature is going to be where I am today. And it also tells me the record. I looked at it this morning and it said that it was going to be 92 where I am today. And the record was 99 in 1943. So the hottest on record, sounds a little funny.
Million people are under heat alert. On Thursday, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the world has entered the age of global boiling.
For vast parts of North America, they call it boiling now just to get a rise out of us. Now check out this guy.
America, Asia, Africa, and Europe, it's a cruel summer. For the entire planet, it is a disaster. And for scientists, it is unequivocal. Humans are to blame. All this is entirely consistent.
We are to blame. We're to blame. Now look, if we got electric cars and all kinds of stuff, do you think that would stop? No, it's not going to stop. And why is that? Because when he says we are causing it, they are causing it. And let me just tell you what I mean by that. There's something called trawling, which happens on the ocean. And they dredge the bottom of the ocean with these huge nets. Well, that destroys everything. It destroys fish. It destroys everything you could possibly imagine, including coral. And you'll see that on this little video that I have next.
In New Zealand waters and around the world, giant nets with steel skids are ripping across the seafloor. The nets drag for kilometers, destroying everything in their path. Marine creatures are being thrown overboard, dead or dying, as bycatch in the relentless pursuit of profit. You can help protect our oceans by texting your name to 963 now. Ancient coral forests are clear-cut by greedy fishing companies.
Did you see that's a big piece of coral that they dredged out? Trawling.
Our seas from destruction. Greenpeace is exposing disgraceful fishing practices on the high seas and demanding government action.
So Greenpeace is trying to stop all this. It's too bad not everybody else is paying attention to this.
Help by texting your name to 963 to stop the bottom trawling of our most fragile ecosystems.
Let's check this one out.
Our planet's forests are some of the most valuable resources we have. They provide us with clean air, a source of food, construction material, and much more. Even more importantly, forests are a major line of defense against climate change. A single tree can absorb as much as 48 pounds of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere each year, which makes them the most effective CO2 scrubbing machines we have. Despite this, forests are being systematically eliminated all across the world. A process we know as deforestation. Each year, 15 billion trees are lost to deforestation and forest degradation. That's 36 football fields worth of trees a minute, and accelerating. At this rate, the world's rainforests may be completely gone within 100 years. This makes deforestation.
If we don't have coral and we don't have trees, we won't be able to breathe and there will be no fish in the ocean.
And responsible for around 13% of the world's carbon emissions, making it a major driver of climate change. Not only do we need trees to absorb our carbon, when they're removed, much of the carbon they had stored is released. Rapidly growing agriculture is responsible for the vast majority of deforestation. Global demand for food, especially meat, forces millions of acres of forest to be cleared for cattle, soybean plantations, and palm oil production. Timber and
all cash crops, by the way.
Fuel extraction, as well as wildfires, drive the partial destruction of forests, known as degradation. All of this is driven by our relentless economic expansion and population growth, with both set to continue increasing dramatically. While harvesting timber is necessary for our economy, unrestrained deforestation can lead to the disruption of weather patterns and the collapse of entire ecosystems, threatening our safety and other resources we depend on.
So deforestation is causing our issues and also dredging the ocean.
So what's the solution? Can we stop this seemingly unstoppable force? The short answer, yes, but it'll take some work. Research has shown that it is possible to decouple economic growth from deforestation by reconfiguring our supply chains and adopting sustainable land use policies. Thanks to the efforts of activists, policymakers, and businesses around the world, deforestation is actually slowing down in some regions.
Some regions. Do you think they're in other countries? Do you think they care about deforestation? And here's what God has to say about all of this. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the whole world and all who live in it. We are all God's children. The earth is God's, and I'm sure that God doesn't want to see us destroy our own planet, although we're working on that. For I know that after my death, this is Moses talking, you will become utterly corrupt and turn from the path I have commanded you. And in the days to come, disaster will befall on you because you will do evil in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger by the work of your hands. Deuteronomy 31:29. Listen, folks, it's not okay to take our trees. It's not okay to dredge our oceans. Why aren't they doing something about that instead of blaming us for it? One of the reasons why it's so hot is the earth goes in different cycles, okay? And cycles change. Just like when we went into the ice age, of course, we weren't here when that happened, so it's getting hotter, but it's getting hotter not because of what we're doing, but because of what they're doing, and they're letting it go on. I need for you to pray for our world. I need for you to pray for our country. I need for you to pray for our government. I need for you to pray. And I also need for you to contact representatives that have something to do, possibly give money to Greenpeace, because they're the only ones that are stopping any of this. This is something that is deep on my heart, and I'm going to start praying about this just like I prayed about the poor little innocent children. And believe me, there's more to come on all of those avenues and other stuff. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much and I hope you enjoyed it. And yes, there is global warming. But are we the cause? I think not.